Welcome back to another week's MMA breakdowns and bets. As always, I'm Santino DeFranco, and with me is Brandon Olivas. We've got a good night of fights coming up this Saturday. We've got Thiago Santos coming up with Magomed Ankalaev, and really a full lineup of good fights. But before we get to the fights, Brandon, why don't you tell us about something? What do you got for us?
Well, you know what? We're not a one sponsor show anymore. I mean, honestly, we've kind of hit the big time here, and it's a really cool sponsor. So it's Marshall Rogan Inu. If you guys watched the fights last weekend, you saw a ton of people shouting them out, promoting them. Really, what's cool is they're trying to help the fighters out, which is awesome. You know, a lot of people will give sponsorships to the UFC guys, to the Bellator guys, but I think what's really cool about the thing that they're doing is they're trying to make fighters' dreams come true. So you saw them sponsor all the Goat Shed guys who fought in Titan FC. I don't know if anybody even watched those fights, but these guys have a really cool crypto project. So you can check out the Instagram. We're going to give links in the show notes here. It's just a really cool mission that they're doing. You know, we really like to see the fighters get paid more, and they're really making that their mission. And even the non-fighters get paid more.
Like us, we're the non-fighters, and they're sponsoring us. They're sponsoring a lot of other MMA shows as well and MMA media. So go check them out. Brandon, for the intro, good job. I was making fun of him. I kept stumbling over my words, and Brandon was like, "I got this. Shut up. Sit down, Santino, old man. I'm gonna run with this," and he did. Um, what
I got the gift
you
of
know?
gab sometimes.
You've got the gift of gab. You wanna know what's funny is when I was younger, I had the gift of gab, and now I feel like CTE is setting in. And, wait, I'm 40 this year. Wait till you're 40 and see when CTE sets in and old age as well, the combined. Wow, that's not something that you are should be looking forward to. Before we get into this week's card, though, let's talk about last week a little bit. I mean, that was, all in all, it was not a bad card, but Tagir did us wrong. And somebody else did me wrong too. But why don't you talk about Tagir? Because I know you probably now have a hate relationship with Tagir, with Tim Elliott, with the judges, and everybody involved in that fight.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, Tagir owes me some money, So I think what was really cool. So all year I've been waiting on a perfect card. I've missed one or two picks on every single card maximum, which has been really really awesome. When you can go 7 for 9 or 8 for 10, that's really really good. Cage Warriors was a beast card. I got two underdogs, and I alerted everybody. A guy that opened as a dog finished as like a -500 favorite. We let everybody know early. Everybody cashed on that. So we all had all these parlays loaded up, like 9 fight parlays between PFL and Cage Warriors. And all we needed was Umar, Kevin Holland, and Tagir. And man, my win was going to be about $70,000 if Tagir won that. I still think that Tagir won that, but man, Tim Elliott just had more show-stopping moments. It's crazy to win a round off a defense, a defended takedown, and that's the part that really sucks. But you know, I saw today a picture of Tagir and Khabib at breakfast, and it really looks like Tagir is going to be homeless in a few days. Khabib wants nothing to do with him. I want nothing to do with him. Tim Elliott, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I'm a big fan of do whatever it takes to get the W.
Yeah, I agree with you there. You've got to do everything, especially glove holding. I mean, I tell you guys, I tell all the fighters, do that as much as you can. Hold the gloves, grab whatever, do whatever. The referee will tell you to stop. And honestly, that's the referee, if it was that big of a deal, should have taken a point. More so than the glove holding and the little cheap stuff. That's just veteran moves. Was Tagir's wrestling. I mean, he wouldn't stop a shot to save his life. It looked really bad. He was pulling guard just like Edson Barbosa, who I think is another guy that should probably just hang him up. That guy, he didn't look like he had any fight left in him. And I thought Bryce Mitchell looked fine, but I didn't think Bryce Mitchell looked amazing. I thought he shot. Edson basically pulled guard and sat on his back for 3 rounds. And how do you win a fight like that? I mean, when he was in,
Unbelievable from an ultra veteran. Unbelievable.
and we talked about this a little bit. When he was on the ground in the third round, and I'm over here yelling like, "Get up, get up, get up." All I'm thinking of is that dude is thinking right now, I don't ever want to be in a cage again. And I hope we don't see him in there again. I mean, nice guy, had a great career, phenomenal. But man, that type of performance, that tells me that that guy does not want to fight anymore. And if he doesn't, I don't think he should.
Yeah. All right.
Well, let's get on to this week's fights. We've got a lot of them, a lot of them, a lot of them. And actually, I'm a hater on a lot of cards, all right? Like, you guys know me at this point. Brandon, you know me too well. I'm always complaining about cards that I hate, but they might have decent bets, this and that. This is actually a really interesting night of fights, just in terms of fighting from a standpoint. You know, a lot of these guys I didn't really know well before I started taping them. And after watching tape of a lot of these fights, one, I think it's one of the hardest cards to call in terms of betting that we have probably ever done. And it might be the absolute hardest we've ever done.
I'm
Not only
glad
is
you said
everything
that because I'm watching all night going, there's no reason to pick four against anything. I'm not seeing blatant holes in this guy's game. That's not in the other guy's game. Also, there's just not enough film. It's young prospects. This is a tough card. And if you can navigate through this, you either got really lucky or you really, really know your shit.
honestly, 100%. And but honestly, I will be there. We have Kamuela Kirk fighting, of course. I'm actually, outside of being there for Kamuela, I actually wish I wasn't there so I could watch it, because I won't be able to watch most of the card. But I'm really curious to see how a lot of these fights play out from a fan perspective. There are a lot of really good fights on this card, and I really can't wait. I say to watch it, but I guess I'll have to rewatch it once I get home. Let's get into this. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. First fight of the night is Nchukwi and Azamat Murzakanov. Do you want to kick this off? You want me to kick it off? Where are we going with this?
Yeah, I would like to start on this one because
Okay.
this is one that is really, really, really fascinating to me. So, on paper, we were all over Azamat. When he was going to fight Jared Vandera, we were all over Azamat. Even up a weight class, we're still all over him. He's just so fast. He's moves in and out. He can wrestle. And, the more that I watch this one, I know MMA Twitter is going to be all over this guy, and everyone loves Azamat. They love them some Azamat. This is a really hard one for me because for the first and foremost is Tafan's takedown defense. I mean, running into that guy is like a brick wall. He's got a low center of gravity. He's got good hips. Like the way he stuffed a couple of Park's takedowns were like it was more painful to go for the takedown, than to get hit in the face by him, which is pretty surprising. Um, I just worry for Azamat. I know he's a beast. I saw what he did to Kutalaba in that, kickboxing with a gi. He crushed him. I mean, he's knocking out everybody. But the part that I really worry about is just the volume over time. Tafon is better than what people think that he is. And our read for the Francis Ngannou and Cyril Gane fight was wrong, right? We lost that one. But this is what this fight reminds me of so much. And leading up to fight week there, I started switching towards Francis. In the striking, I was like, Francis could win this. Just that calm composure, that walking forward. Once all the bouncing stops and once the in and out stops and you can't land volume, you're depending on that one shot. I think that Tafon could wear on Azamat. I think just he's slower for sure. He's definitely slower. Azamat is faster. He bounces in and out. He's got power. But when Azamat can't take Tafon down and Azamat stops bouncing and he's throwing one-off shots and Tafon is in his face throwing really slow but heavy jabs, this is one to me. I'm going to avoid this one. I know conventional wisdom says Azamat by a mile, but I think we've seen this fight before. Uh, and please don't crush me for this one, but to a lesser degree, Al Matavo versus Tafon Nchukwi. We saw that southpaw stand, kind of that in and out, that little rock, and Tafon crushed him. It wasn't even close, just the styles. I just like the big, strong Tafon here. And I have no reason. I got no basis. Again, a coin flip fight. I know Azamat should win. I just think this is a very, very, very tough fight. I'm not going to pick a winner on this one.
Okay, interesting. So first of all, I mean, we got to go back to Tafon's record. In CFFC, knocked out William Knight. All right. I mean, and William Knight is a solid guy. He beat Jamie Pickett, beat Mike Rodriguez in a completely, kind of one-sided affair.
Horrible. Yeah.
And then the Park fight was actually, I think, the most compelling fight, similar to this fight, with speed. I think that that's where we saw just a big speed advantage. And you said it just a minute ago. He's slow. The thing though is, I believe, don't quote me on this, you guys, I think he has the same boxing coach as Sadiq. They're both Team Lloyd Irving guys, all right? And if you watch him, he looks and moves like Sadiq. Um, yeah, exactly. I mean, high guard, really stiff jab, plods forward, and is just in your face. Um, I wonder the thing that you said it already. There's two things. It's the wrestling and it's the speed. And man, the speed of geez, I can't even say his Azmat. Yeah, Azamat is. I mean, he is light on his feet. If you got, you're probably too young to even remember this. Do you remember Igor Vovchanchin from Pride?
I remember Igor Valchanchin because he would tell us all the time we did fight like Igor Valchanchin. Small
Yes.
guy, heavyweight, in and out.
Yep. So Igor Vovchanchin, for you guys that don't know, go look him up. He was 5'8", 5'9", fighting at heavyweight in Pride. And he had this, he was so little, but he had this little like jab, and he would just pot and reach and pot and reach. He was kind of in and out and in and out and in and out. And then he would just throw that overhand. And that is exactly what Azmat reminds me of, is not 100%, you guys. So don't kill me on that. But you will see the resemblance is that short little stature and moving. But man, he is so fast. The thing though is, and again, you already said this, is that one fast punch when it lands going to be enough for the volume as the fight goes on? The side kick, I don't think he does too much with his kicks, but they're going to be there. They're going to score. You know, Azmat's going to do some stuff. I love Tafon. I love Tafon. I love Tafon. Tafon is slow. He's slow. He's slow. And when Park put him on his back, he took a beating, and he took a beating fast. I I'm not sold on this 100%. I'm leaning Azamat on this, and I love Tafon. I really like Tafon. I really like Tafon. I think the speed is going to be an issue, but not only that, and I'm actually reading a little bit deeper into this because I'm reading into Sadiq, and they fight the same, and you know, of course, different weight classes. Sadiq had a hard time with Andre Fili at the beginning when Fili was moving a lot. He had a hard time with Arnold Allen when Arnold Allen was moving a lot. For some reason, I'm thinking Tafon is going to have a hard time with Azamat because he moves a lot, and their specific style of boxing is just be right there in your face. And if he was a little bit faster, I would want to give it to him. I would want to give it to him, but just that speed factor alone. And I think that later on in the fight, if he gets taken down, I think Azamat is going to do some damage and score. I think it's going to be a very, very, very close fight. I don't think Azamat is going to be able to finish Tafon because I think he has a boulder for a head. But I'm with you. I think this is a coin toss fight. I am leaning toward Azamat, but I don't think I could actually bet it because it scares me.
And I'm right there with you. That you put it perfectly. I'm leaning Azamat. I would love to see Azamat wrestle. If Azamat can get him down, that's a huge, huge thing. I think that's the way that he wins the fight. But I don't see him putting Tafon to sleep like he has everybody else. For some reason, just that big block head that, I just can't see that. And so then what's the path to victory? Well, what happens if he can't take him down? We've seen a little bit of wrestling, but not against world beater wrestlers. And Tafon has good hips, and he's like you would always say about Jimmy Rivera. Just you hit those hips and you bounce right off them. It was kind of crazy.
Man, I absolutely see the resemblance. I really like Tafon here. And honestly, if Tafon can close the distance and press, because he bullies well in the clinch, gets in there, beats people up, pushes them against the fence. He does the right stuff. He does the right stuff. Man, I really like him. I wish he was a little bit faster, but man, I like this fight. I think it's going to be, honestly, I don't even care if it's entertaining. I'm curious to see it tactically play out.
All right, what do we got next?
Man, we have got Guido Canetti and Chris Moutinho. This is another one. I'm going to start with this one. I am so freaking torn on this fight because, and you guys got to understand, when I'm on the show, I'm being critical in the sense of breaking down fights because that's what we are doing is we are talking about fighters and breaking fights down. I do not mean to be derogatory. I am a coach. I am a former fighter myself. I have had phenomenal performances and horrible performances, and I've had to deal with both of those. And people talk about me and all of that stuff. So I get it. I do
We
not mean
watched
to
The
be
Ultimate Fighter. We know.
exactly. So I do not mean to be derogatory toward either of these guys. So if it sounds that way, again, we're breaking fights down. This is the way that it goes. I always rag on Charles Rosa. I think Guido Canetti might be the worst in the division. And I mean, he gasses so hard. He just goes out there and swings. His boxing is not crisp. It's sloppy at best. But he goes out there and he swings. It's tough. He's a tough guy. He's 42. And even he had a little bit of success on Marlon in the first round. Of course, he gassed out, and then Marlon, beat him up for it. Gosh, what are his last? I'm looking at his record now, you guys. All right. So Mano Martinez, we'll get to that in a second, but he got knocked out by Badgero Dana. Marlon Vera choked him out in round 2. He beat Diego Rivas, and then he lost to Kyung Ho Kang. All right. So, but that Mano Martinez fight, he actually looked pretty good. Martinez is, Mano, I think is what, 23, 24, 25, something like that. And
Yeah, young kid.
Guido didn't blow his load. He was measured. He looked good. He systematically picked Mana apart, and I say that in a close fight. I mean, it was a split decision. I wasn't the end all be all, but the thing is, on the other side of that, we've got Moutinho, who I am not very big on skill set wise. I don't think his jiu-jitsu is scary. I think his striking is adequate at best. It's not horrible. It's clean, but just there's not a lot of power there. He is, as I always talk about, Homer Simpson. Kennedy, gosh, I can't even say his name. What is it? He just fought last week. Nchukwi.
Just call him
Nchukwi.
Ngannou. It's the same. Somebody was
Kennedy.
telling me that their favorite part is just watching you mispronounce every fighter's name.
Oh
on
my
this
gosh,
show.
I am the worst. So Kennedy, all right, we saw that. And for you guys that don't know the Homer Simpson reference, I was talking to you earlier today, and you're like, I don't know this Homer Simpson reference. If you watch, there's an episode of The Simpsons where Homer became a boxer, and he would get beat up the entire fight, and people would gas themselves out beating him and then fall over and he would win. And that's what I talk about with Kennedy. Kennedy just holds his hands up, just takes a beating until people fall over. And Carlos Ulberg, that is the best example of that ever. But Chris Moutinho is the same way. Not only, the Sean O'Malley fight we saw, but in a lot of his other fights, these regional fights, he is getting dropped badly by guys who are not bad, but not UFC level guys. And he just won't die. They tire themselves out and he wins. So we've got a 42-year-old Guido Canetti on one side who is not very good, but didn't look bad in his last fight, who gasses himself out. And then we have Chris Moutinho on the other side. I think Guido Canetti is better everywhere this fight can possibly go. And I think Moutinho is probably going to Homer Simpson it. I think Canetti probably hurts him early. And then I think Moutinho probably weathers the storm and second or third round starts putting it on him. Somehow gets a win.
Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite spots, and this is giving me like eerie vibes to like Randy Costa when I was going out on the Randy Costa hill. Oh, what are you drinking? Our first
Oh,
and our first and original sponsor, LaCroix.
our first love, LaCroix, limoncello.
Um, there's nothing better for the brain than LaCroix. I'm telling you guys, they've always been a loving sponsor. But what's bad for the brain is getting hit a lot. And Chris Moutinho, I'm watching this kid. I love this kid. He just seems like teenage angst. He just seems like he wants to say a big F you to his parents. And I love it. I love it. Like, Mom, look how many times I'm going to go get hit and I'm going to graffiti your house afterwards. It's awesome. I love this kid. But I got just such Nick Diaz vibes. My favorite fight to watch was the Ashik Azim fight. So, if you look on his record early in his career, he just looks like a crazy dude that didn't care about anything, lost a couple fights to people he shouldn't be losing to. But then you watch some of his fights after that. Like, he's fighting decently good people. I mean, he fought Tony Gravely. Johnny Campbell he lost to, and then he fought Ashik Azim. He beat Damon Blackshear. Those are good wins. Those are aging well. The Ashik Azim fight was really, really interesting. I have never seen such a beating in my life for about 4 minutes and 30 seconds. And then the tide completely flipped the other direction and him just put it on him, right? He ate 30 leg kicks in a row. He didn't check one. Ashik Azim just boom, 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 boom. But the thing that I like about Chris Moutinho that Mano Martinez didn't present, Mano was gun shy in that fight. Mano was gun shy. Mano would not engage. And we saw every time he did engage, he put Guido Canetti on the fence and he unloaded his combo and he looked great. And that's the big moments in the rounds that he was winning. But other than that, he was hanging out on the outside and he just refused to engage. I think okay, this is going to sound weird, but we were watching sparring the other day and I just watched a guy just get beat to hell, like just beat to hell by our very own Nico Airlines. And the thing that I noticed is he's not comfortable getting hit. You close your eyes, you're not comfortable getting hit. And I think maybe that's Mana just a little bit. Chris Moutinho, for all that he is, he's comfortable getting hit. Like he's game. He's like Chris Lieben. Honestly, he's kind of like Nick Diaz. He's southpaw. He's got a crisp, like little pawing jab. He probably throws 30% power on it. And he never stops moving forward. He will just eat every leg kick. He will eat every bomb. He never stops pressing, and he weaponizes that cardio. So in this fight against an old Guido Canetti, who throws looping punches, gases, I like the young kid with the chin. And I know that sounds weird because he's been dropped every fight, but he eats a lot more punches than he gets dropped by. Like he's eating a fair amount of shots before he goes down. I like the young kid with the chin, with the forward pressure, with the cardio. Honestly, with the sharp jabs and straights, I think his boxing is clean when he opens up. So I might die alone on this hill, and this could be a very, very bloody battle. But I gotta go. I gotta go large on Solus Chris here.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Chris is going to win. That's what I said. But I think the key, this is going to sound insane. I think the key to Chris winning is, I can't even believe I'm saying this. I think the real key to Chris winning is Guido hitting him hard, rocking him, dropping him, or thinking he rocked him or dropped him, going in for the finish, not getting it, and then gassing himself out because of it. And, I think this is a gift to Chris Moutinho for that Sean O'Malley performance on short notice. And they're saying, look, we're giving you the one guy in the division that we think you're going to beat. If you can't do it, that's on you, but we're giving it to him. This is his last fight in the UFC. We should have cut him 16 fights ago. And here's your present, Chris. Do with it what you will.
Okay. Am I crazy for watching Chris Moutinho going, Chris Moutinho could beat a lot of guys in the UFC purely on just having a good chin and good cardio. Like, am I crazy for that?
Hey, we talk about it all the time, man. Cardio is king, and if you can take a beating and you can be there, when you come off the stool after the first round, I mean, that's half the game right there.
Like Marlon Vera that we're gonna get to. If Solus Chris fought Marlon Vera, am I batshit crazy to think like Marlon gasses himself out trying to murder him, and then Chris just pops in his face and KOs him? Am I insane?
I don't know that he's going to beat Marlon Vera, but I think he could beat a lot of the guys on the card.
Oh, I'm sorry. Not Marlon Vera. Marlon Moraes. Marlon Moraes.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I actually meant Marlon Moraes as well. Yeah, I know what you meant. I meant the same thing. Said it wrong, but yeah, Marlon Moraes. But I know where you're going. I don't know if we're going to give him that much.
I don't know.
All right. Well, let's move on. All right. So quick recap. All right. We said we're undecided on the first. I think we're both leaning Moutinho on that second. Next up, we've got Cody Brundage. And do you want to take a stab at this next name?
Dolce Lungiambula.
Gosh, you make it sound so easy. Like, geez. Like, I was going to say I'm the English teacher, but this isn't English, so it doesn't count. You give me an English word, I'm on it. You give me something besides James Smith, I can't say it. All right, so you are up. Why don't you talk about your friend Cody Brundage first? I know you're big on him and you're big on his fighting skills.
Well,
and and his college wrestling.
Well, man, it's just frustrating. I'm sure he was a decent college wrestler, but then he ended up at Factory X. And man, I got to tread lightly here, but everybody's in love with these big coaches and these big gyms. They don't actually understand, they don't understand. And I feel like everybody who goes to Factory X, they level down in their wrestling a couple notches. Everybody, including yourself, was on Devontae last week. And what did I say? I screamed from the rooftops, something's up with this line. I think Klein could do this. I'm telling you. And for some reason, the wrestling just goes down. Like there's two guys that can wrestle and counter wrestle. And I think it's Jonathan Martinez. And then you got Dustin Jacoby. And then everybody else is like just falling over and just, it's horrible. But first of all, Brundage has no neck, and it could be good, it could not be good, but he's got no neck, and he's just very square shoulders. Here's my problem with this fight. This is a very winnable fight for Cody Brundage, right? He stays on the outside, he moves his head, and he wrestles. He's got to wrestle. He's got to gas out Dalcha. There's a very simple game plan. This is Abdul Razak Al Hassan and Jacob Malkoun, right? Easy game plan. Take him down, make him work hard to get back up, and then he gets tired and you start picking him apart. The cardio has been a problem in every one of Dalcha's fights. The problem is, I think that Cody tries to be too pretty. It's there. There comes a time when what works is your jabs and your crosses and having good defense and your head movement and your cardio. I mean, look at Peter Yan. Peter Yan, you guys think does all these insane, crazy things. Peter Yan's fundamentals are the best in the UFC. I mean, he's amazing. Like Volkanovski is just unbelievable like that. Doing all the sidestepping and looping punches and switch stances, man, it looks great. It looks like you really know what you're doing, but it tires you out and you get hit a lot. And let me pull up this record.
Hold on, I want to stop you right
So
there really quickly as you're pulling stuff up. What you just said, the switching stances, the looping, the this and that, is you see that a lot, and we talked about this, was Alex Hernandez. And that's what I see with Cody Brundage, is I don't know that he knows who he is as a fighter anymore. And, Alex Hernandez would go out there and just swing for the fences and starch people. And then he started trying to like reach with his right hand and reach with his left. And then are you TJ Dillashaw? You're doing Bang Ludwig stuff. Um, and then he got away from what he was good at, and that was being physical and athletic. And that's the issue with this. And I think Cody Brundage, I think, wants to be a striker, but he should be going out there and blast doubling people.
yeah, I mean that's the advantage. You can win a lot of fights just if you can wrestle. Like straight up, if you can just wrestle, you're gonna just win a lot of fights. That is what it is until you start hitting those higher levels and guys that can defend. And honestly, I don't even know if Dalcha's that guy. But what I worry about, so Cody Brundage, okay, he lost to Maximov, who was just a better wrestler and was pretty annoying, but he made such bad decisions in that fight, right? He kept going for key locks. Like, you think key lock's going to work on what do they fight, 185 or 205? Like, you have to be so physically strong to hit a key lock on a guy who's a better wrestler. That's just horrible decision making. So I already hate that. Not that Dalcha is going to go out there and take him down, but this was the one. So he beat Joseph Cropshot on LFA 99. And great first round. Looked great. He's moving. He's doing all the things. And then the second round comes and he's starting to get tired and he's starting to get pieced up a little bit. He's starting to get out bigged, out wrestled. He's starting to get hit. And the thing that I worry about in this fight is when you looking across the cage at a Dalcha Lungiambula who's got a body crafted from the gods, and you see the power and you see what he's doing to people. I don't think he's going to play that same style. I think you'd be intimidated to have that hands down style, right? We saw Marc-Andre Barriault dive right in, but it was with a high guard and he's throwing clinch shots and he was not afraid. I think if Cody Brundage hesitates for a split second, it is going to be a short night. He's going to zig when he should have zagged, and Dalcha is going to say, see you later. The other thing I like about Dalcha is the judo background, right? So even for the wrestlers, sometimes that trips people up, right? You got the wizard toss and just some basic things. Dalcha's strong. Dalcha's powerful. He's got the judo look. Again, this is not one I want to really touch because I could see an easy path to victory for Brundage here. But I hate how comfortable Brundage thinks that he is when he really should be keeping his hands up, his chin down, putting a pace on people. I think Dalcha is going to start. I think Dalcha could get him here.
I I agree with you 100%. And it's funny you talk about the wrestler judo background. I used to train with a guy who's actually a partner in my gym who was a good judo guy. And we had another guy who was a really good wrestler. They were the same age, same weight ish. And, one of them was a couple time over D3 All American, was an assistant coach at Purdue. And the other one, was a judo guy. And, Rich, the judo guy, wrestled in high school as well. But man, he would toss Bob, the wrestler, every single time because the stiffness of a wrestler, they're not used to the the foot sweeps and the trips. And I think you're right about that. I think, but even that, I mean, Dalsha gets tired most fights, but not like dead on your knees, like the worst you've
He
ever seen.
recovers well.
Yeah, I mean, he fought Ankalaev. I mean, he fought Marc-Andre Barriault. Marcus Perez that was a completely dominant victory. Taquan Townsend, and then he's got a lot of good victories in EFC before he came over to the UFC. He's got a lot of experience. Cody Brundage has like one guy who's had a winning record in his whole career that he beat. Um, I mean, that alone, I mean, literally one guy. He's 4-1.
Wow.
That was the LFA one that he gassed on. I think I don't know that I see. I mean, Cody Brundage, if he wants to win this, he better go in there and shoot right off the bat and be able to keep that pace for 3 rounds because I think Dalsha is gonna. I think he's gonna get ahead on the scorecard. I think he may knock him out. He may finish him early. If he doesn't, I think he will be up 2 rounds by the time he gasses, and I don't know that Brundage is some phenomenal finisher who's going to finish him. Man, I want to like Brundage for the accolades. He trains at altitude. He wrestled in college. He hasn't shown me anything that makes me want to bet on him. And I mean, on the other side of that, I mean, you've got Dalsha who is just tough. He gasses a little bit in the 3rd round, not horribly, but he's pretty dynamic throughout. The
It's
judo
against our
background.
Bible, but it's weird that we both came to the same conclusion on
But
this
it's
one.
not it's not against the Bible. We've got cardio. I mean, that's the biggest thing that we look at. But then all of the other things are indulged. And Brundage gasses too. Brundage gasses. We've seen him gas before. I think the reason why he gasses is he's so uncomfortable being in there that he panics. And this is the thing: is everybody wants to be in the UFC. All right, Brundage wants to be in the UFC at what was he 5-1, 6-1, something like that. Look at Max Rushkoff. All right, what he was 4 or 5-0. He got to the UFC, had
Sad.
the biggest adrenaline dump ever, and then that was it. You guys, sometimes 6-0, 6-1, 7. You're not ready for the UFC yet, and so you think you are until you get there, and then all of a sudden you panic, and that adrenaline hits, and you are not freaking ready for the UFC. I think Brundage, maybe if he was 10, 12, 14 fights in, he might be ready. I don't think his skill set is even. I don't like that he doesn't know who he is and the weird style and the bad decisions. But I think a lot of his discomfort is he just doesn't have enough experience. He hasn't fought those fights. He hasn't got grimy. We've got Kamwe Leclerc fighting this weekend as well, who does not have a ton of fights, but he's I think his record's 11-4, 12-4, something like that. But he has had battles before he made it to the UFC. Battles. His 4th
With
fight was
good
against
guys.
Kyle
Yeah.
Reyes, was a battle, tooth and nail. So when he's in the UFC, like this is his 2nd fight, we know that he is tested. Brundage just isn't tested. And again, talking about the Bible, I think Dalsha's cardio is not phenomenal, but it's not the worst. I mean, I don't even know what Brundage's is. Like I said, I just said that, but all of the other check marks, I'm going with Dalsha on this. So I got to go Dalsha. I'm not certain, but yeah, I like Dalsha on this. I like Dalsha. Not to say that
Let's go,
Brundage
Dolce.
can't. Brundage can win. I don't see him winning though.
All right. Now, next up, we have Sabina Mazo and Miranda Maverick.
Oh man. All right. So I don't know where to. I mean, I do know where to go with this one. I like Mazo's height. All right.
That's it.
She's tall. Yeah. No, but she uses her height well. She uses her range well. She's got a good stiff jab. I mean, she's got that win over Justine Kish, who she was picking apart, and then she landed some shots later in the fight, dropped her, and had that killer instinct and got her. She beat JJ Aldrich, who is a tough female in the division. I mean, she lost to Marina Moroz, who is tough. We saw Marina just win, and she looked phenomenal against Maria Agapova, who Sabina lost to as well, and then Sabina lost to Alexis Davis. All right. She is good. She is good. She is good. And then on the other side of that, we have Miranda Maverick, who is, I am really big on Miranda Maverick. And I thought she beat Macy Barber. I thought she won 2 rounds to 1. And I thought she lost to Erin Blanchfield, but I thought she was going to beat Erin Blanchfield. And I think, I don't know if I overestimated Maverick or if I underestimated Blanchfield, and I think it was probably a combination of both.
I think it was
Uh,
definitely underestimated Blanchfield. That chick is gangster.
God, is she good? And I know this. Tracy fought her. I was really big on Blanchfield on her debut. I just was really big on Miranda Maverick. I love Miranda Maverick's physicality. I like her boxing. She glides in and out. She does the right stuff. I think she lost to Macy Barber, who is one again. I thought she won that, but who is a physical specimen. And she lost to Erin Blanchfield, who is a physical specimen. I don't think Sabina Mazo has the physicality to handle Miranda Maverick. And I think that physicality, because Miranda Maverick is a good striker. She moves in and out. She's got good wrestling, but I think more than anything, she is just physical. And Sabina, I love her jab. I love her range, but I don't know that she's going to be able to pick Miranda apart from the outside like she does so many other girls. And I think Miranda is going to be inside, being physical, and I think the physicality is going to be the difference here. I don't. I like Miranda Maverick here, and I think fully based on physicality, and that is so big in the women's division, and that physicality here, I think, is going to play a win.
Man, this is just such a tough one. The odds are so crazy on this fight, minus 310 or 250. And you know me, guys. I don't care.
Wait,
It's funny.
for
Everyone's
who?
saying
For
it
who are they?
for
It,
Miranda Maverick.
for Maverick? Okay.
Yeah. It's fun. People were calling me a fraud because I pick guys that win, that are big favorites. Like, of course, yes, they win. Duh, easy. I'm not a fraud because of that. Like, take what's in front of you, dummy. Anyways, but this one is the one where the odds are going to just steer me away from this. I don't trust Miranda Maverick enough at minus 300. She doesn't add enough value. And when there's so many cards this week, like Eagle FC and Bellator and LFA and PFL, there's so much other stuff to choose from. I can get a much better minus 300 to put in my parlays than a Miranda Maverick. And I like Miranda. I think she's solid. I think she does a lot of things well, but man, she is just so stiff. She is so stiff. She just has like this, like every mechanism in her body has to move for her to be able to throw one punch. She's just kind of stiff. Now she's aggressive, she's mean, she can wrestle a little bit. She does a lot of things well. But when she was fighting Blanchfield barely had to do any work. She kind of just let Miranda Maverick overextend on her punches and just snuck around her. And it was so much energy and toughness for Miranda Maverick to get back up. Like, it was just so much. And I think Sabina Mazo, man, she just doesn't put anything on her punches. They're a little pitter pat, nothing punches. She's not physical at all. Like, you're really worried if she's going to break her legs, even standing, getting into the cage. Like, it's kind of a weird physicality. I have a weird feeling that Sabina could do this. Like round one, Miranda gets a little bit tired fighting that taller girl, and then I think Sabina could start to turn it on. I don't want to go anywhere near this fight. I started taping this one, and I said my eyes are telling me Miranda Maverick by a mile. She's just better everywhere, and the more I was watching, the more I was just like, this one is not for me. This one is not for me at all. I don't trust Miranda Maverick enough to know what she's good at yet. Really, she should go dag Sabina, but I don't think she's going to. She's going to try to strike a little bit, and she's going to get hit at range, and then where do we end up? I don't know. So for me, I'll just defer to you on this one. If you think Miranda's going to win, everybody go listen to that one. I'm off this one.
Yeah, I like Miranda here. I like her footwork. I like the way that she comes in and out. She's a little stiff in her height, but I really like her angle. She's always moving, inching left, inching right, and again the physicality. I think she's so much more well rounded, and I don't think Sabina is very dangerous. And I think that is key. I think if Sabina was very dangerous, maybe it'd be a different conversation. But I don't. I'm not big on Sabina here.
All right,
And then
what's up
we've
next?
got well, this one I'm gonna stay mute on. We've got Damon Jackson, Kamuela Kirk. Kamuela, I've been training him since he was a kid, since he was an amateur. Known him and his family for years and years. I really he's one of the few people that I really get nervous for fighting anymore, regardless of where he's fighting. Just he's been with me forever, and he's family, and that's we're gonna go out there. I'm leaving on Thursday, go cut weight with him, and go fight our ass off.
I love that guy so much. First, guys, if you're looking for a really good breakdown on this one, go listen to the other people. They're just going to give you a bunch of stats and numbers and say a bunch of stuff without saying actually anything. We've had the pleasure, and I always talk about these ones. We've had the pleasure of seeing Camuela, his stage name. We've had the pleasure of seeing him in the gym for years now. How long has it been? 7 years that I've been with you guys, or
For you,
something like
yeah,
that.
it's been 10 years for me.
Yeah, 10 years for you. We uh, I will put it like this. I said this about Kyler Phillips. Kyler Phillips, one of the best fighters I've ever seen personally. Like, the kid just can do everything well. He is unbelievable. He's the second best fighter I've ever seen, only to Camuela. Let me just put it like that. Like, you guys may watch his film and go, I don't know. But the part that drives me insane about Camuela is because what he does on fight night is nowhere close to what we see in the gym on a day-to-day basis. I really think that I'm one of the better jiu-jitsu guys on planet Earth in MMA. I think there's very few people that have the kind of level of jiu-jitsu that I do. And you can ask people. I mean, I've gone with all your favorite UFC fighters. When I train with Camuela, he makes me feel like I've never trained a day in my freaking life. He beats me every which way. Getting ready for his last fight, I mean, he wanted me to work some stuff. I couldn't even breathe. He was suffocating me so bad with punches and just beating me to every spot. I've seen Camuela outbox professional boxers. I've seen him toss around NCAA champions without even knowing they were NCAA champions. I have seen him get up from every angle. I can't hold the guy down. I know he's bigger than me, but nobody can hold him down. I was talking about this. When we started first going to Fight Ready, I wasn't very good at all. And his family owns Siege, so we would go over to Fight Ready, and I always felt like it was Siege versus Fight Ready. Like, we always had to kind of defend our own. And I was like, man, I'm gonna get beat up. And then I would kind of look to Camuela and be like, well, you're gonna have to represent for us. And he would go out and just beat up everybody. Um, this is a lot of saying stuff on Camuela. Let me just say this, guys. His striking, it's silly that people are talking about how much his striking's improving. He's one of the best strikers I've ever seen. When he can find it, when he can open up, he is unbelievable. You can attest to this. He's one of the hardest hitters ever. I mean, he goes light with me, and I feel like we're fighting. Like, I have to swing on him hard because he taps me going light, and I'm like, really? We're throwing down? Like, we just started. His jiu-jitsu is excellent. His wrestling is good. And, for you bettors out there, okay, he comes to the gym every day and he has to listen to us talk about fight IQ and cardio and all the stupid stuff. Look at his last fight with Mach 1. First round, he defended the takedowns incredibly. And then the second and third round, he started dropping for guillotines. You think after that and us being in his corner, we're gonna let him drop for guillotines anymore? Come on. Come on. It's not happening. He's changed a lot of things in his strength and conditioning program. He knows how to fight finally. I think just like you said, with getting to the UFC, it's been a lot of trial and error with Gabe. I'm sorry, Kemwele. He's just so much better than everybody he's ever fought that he's just gotten that far in skill, talent, and hustle. I think finally he's learning how to actually fight, how to be a professional, how to be just excellent in every part of the process. And Damon Jackson had kind of a close fight with Charles Rosa. So to me, and this is the most biased possible answer that I could give you guys, but to me, don't overthink this one. Take the younger, faster, better, cleaner, more handsome, velvety skinned, tribal tattoo. Take him. Easy.
All right. Next up, we've got Trevin Jones and again, another name, Javid Basharat. Javid. I call it Javid just because I was like, maybe it's David, but in another language. So it's Javid. Uh, I'll start with this one. You got that last one. I think
I
Trevin
rambled a little bit.
Jones. You rambled on. At one point, I was about to text you and be like, "Dude, all right, let's just cut this off," because I think that was like 48 minutes of Comwalian right there. So, uh, hey, guy loves himself some Hawaiian. So Trevin Jones, man, I, I have a hard time reading Trevin Jones in the sense where sometimes I look at him as just a lucky brawler. Let's go through the record because, just in the UFC, Timur Valiev, all right?
Amazing
Valiev,
win.
dude, but Valiev beat him. He Homer Simpsoned him. Valiev beat him to an inch of his freaking life. And then,
But
Trevin
Valiant
threw
didn't
that.
even get tired. He just caught him. It was like
I know.
unbelievable.
Exactly. He just caught him. All right. So that was just so you're looking at Trevin there and you go, all right, he got lucky, whatever. But then he went out and knocked out Mario Bautista, and that was not lucky. He saw that Mario was throwing the same thing again and again, and he made a read mid-fight and adjusted, and that was just good fight IQ stuff. I mean, that was just a solid go of things. Then you see him in his last fight, against Kakramanov. And Kakramanov won round one in the striking department, which is actually kind of weird because Trevin looked tentative. He didn't look like he wanted to go out there and throw bombs, and that's kind of what Trevin does, is go out there and throw bombs. So he looks tentative, and then he starts wrestling, and he looks pretty good wrestling. He's out jiu-jitsuing this, and then he's winning in the wrestling department. And honestly, just got a little too greedy. He probably was on his way to winning 2 rounds to 1. You don't think so? That second round, it was they could
No. He was not
that,
winning that fight.
but that second round could have gone either way depending on how the judges see it. And then that third round, he was just all over. Rock or geez, what the hell? Who the hell was he? I can't even say Kakraman. Man, yeah, exactly. But I mean, honestly though, but he fought smart to win that fight. He relied on his wrestling, and his jiu-jitsu is way better than people give it credit for. And he's not bad. Like I think he's got a lot of losses because he just takes fights. But man, right before he got into the UFC, he had 2 split decision losses. All right. Jung Him Huang and Rodrigo Praya, 11-3, 5-3, but he's beaten some good guys. I think he is better than his record shows. I think he just has some poor decisions while he's in there. I really don't get it, but he hits hard. He does a lot of stuff well. He just, I don't know that he mentally has put it together well. And then on the other side of that, we've got Basharat. And Basharat is, what is he, 16, 11-0. All right, so 11-0. But man, don't let this fool you. Okay, even the last guy that he fought was 16-0. All right, and he beat him up. That was on the Contender Series or in Kalan. All right. I'm looking at his record now. He is 16-1. His first 7 wins, 7 people were against guys who were 0-0. All right. Then he fought 3 people, 4 people, 5 people who were 2-0. All right. And then he fought a guy, 4-0, 16-7. And he took a little bit of a step up. The fight before that, before he got in the Contender Series, was against a guy, and this is Oren Kalin still, against Alexei Longiambula, who was horrible as well. So Man, Basharat's record is very, very weak. His strength of schedule is very, very weak. Now that said, he looks good. He looks good. He moves in and out well. He has really good evasive footwork. He touches. He does not look like he has a lot of power. His top jujitsu looks good. It looks the part. The issue though is we haven't seen enough out of him. We have not seen anybody wrestle him. We have not seen anybody decent. All right. We've seen people wrestle him who've shot the worst shots ever and him throw him on the ground. Like bad wrestling. We've never seen any decent wrestler go against him. We haven't seen him wrestle anybody that can put him on his back. We haven't seen him fight anybody who can fight at all. Now he's doing all of the right stuff. He looks the part. He doesn't gas. He's fast. He's lateral movement, all of the right stuff. The thing that worries me is his hands are low. His hands are low. He gets a little too close, and he doesn't have a ton of power. And I would not be surprised to just see Trevin just swing some haymakers when he comes in and see him get clipped. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Trevin put him on his back and see Trevin out jujitsu him from his back. I'm not so this fight, I don't want anything to do with it. Gun to my head, I'm going, man, I don't even know gun in my head. My brain says Basharat wins this. He's 11-0. He's going to find a way to win. He's got good cardio. He's got good movement. He's got good footwork. This is the first fight with you where you're like, man, I don't want to touch it. That's almost how I am here. Everything in my I feel like Trevin Jones is going to get an upset, and I think Trevin is better than we think he is, and I think he's going to show really well here. I'm not betting on it. I don't think I am yet, but I really think I don't know. There's just so much unknowns of Basharat that I'm not sold.
And you know what? That's a really common theme on this card is the unknowns. And everyone's gonna make such a bold stance on this guy or that guy. It's like you have no reason to think that for or against it. Like Javid could be a world title contender tomorrow, or he could be a complete fraud. We don't know. We don't know. The fight on Contender Series, throw that away. That means literally nothing because the guy, he literally caught a kick and the guy just laid on his back for the rest of the round. He did the bare minimum, got the guy down, and he laid on the back for the rest of the round. Like that film offered you almost nothing. The guy didn't even fight at all. He was old. Like there was so much stuff wrong with that. So now we're back to square one. Now we only have footage pre-UFC. And I think you said it. So first and foremost, I've lost money on every Trevin Jones fight ever. I picked Timur to beat him. I picked Mario to beat him. And then when I was finally on the hype train and I was ready to rock, I was like, okay, late notice, all the stuff. Finally, I'm going to pick Trevin. And then he got smoked, right? Um, so I think the thing with Javid, he moves well enough, but his chin is always in the air. And the problem I had, and you said it, is he gets too close with his hands down. He's throwing these kicks and then he's engaging in that distance and he's just relying on his, his pulls and just his speed to just get out of the way of punches. Well, Trevin's tall, Trevin's lanky, Trevin throws long punches. I just don't like that really, really close distance. And the other thing too is I don't think he throws with much power. And with Timur and Trevin, we saw a scared puppy in the first round. I mean, he was just getting bombed on. It was terrifying. But against Mario, I thought that round was actually decently close because Mario doesn't have a ton of power either. Um, man, everything in me wants to pull the trigger on Trevin again. I just hate he's training at like 7 different gyms. It doesn't seem like he has a coach or anybody who truly, truly cares about him. Um, it, man, I'm not sold on Javid. Gun to my head, I'm going to go Trevin. I like Trevin. And here's the last thing to keep in mind about Trevin's last fight. He cut weight 3 times in a month. 3 weight. I mean, maybe it was more than a month, but he had a canceled fight on July 24th with Tony Kelly. He came back on July 31st to fight Ronnie Lawrence. That one fell out. And then he fought for real on August 21st. So 3 weight cuts. I can see why he wasn't pulling the trigger. I can see why he had no gas. I think we see a much better Trevin Jones here. I like Trevin in the upset.
Man, I don't disagree with that at all. I don't disagree. I do not disagree. Um, yeah.
I talked
Now,
myself into this right now because,
yeah,
prior to, I said Javid with more volume and just more stuff, but I'm like, Trevin has fought in ACB. He's fought all over the world. He can defend takedowns. His jiu-jitsu solid. And I just think he's more basic, solid striker. And with no threat of like a knockout or just somebody blitzing him, I think we're going to see a much more refined Trevin.
I think so. Strength of schedule means a lot, and you see a lot of these guys. You see Jordan Wright. Jordan Wright's one of those guys who fought no. I mean, guys were like 0-30 his first like 6 or 7 fights. Like it doesn't count, you guys. Now it does actually a little bit, and what it does count with is camps, getting through the camps, the fight day, the weigh-in. People don't realize that it's not just getting in the cage and fighting, it's showing up, making weight, rehydrating, getting out there the next day with all of the nerves, all of the walkout, all of the pomp and circumstance that goes with fighting. That is a lot more, honestly, than even the fight itself sometimes when it comes time to nerves and when it comes time to being comfortable in there. But, these guys have one of them's 11-0. The other one, I think he's 16-7. So they've both made that walk to the cage quite a bit. But Trevin Jones has actually fought people who will fight him inside of that cage numerous times, and he has fought tooth and nail, whereas Basharat has never fought anybody who has put up a fight. I mean, honestly, even remotely a fight. And that's not a testament to Basharat's skills. That's a testament to the lack of his schedule.
All right. What's up next?
Okay, so before we get to the women's fight, which is JJ Aldrich and Jillian Robertson, make sure you guys check out our Patreon. We give our love them and like them picks. Brandon gives his, I give mine. Those are the picks that we think have the best shot of winning in, during the course of the night. Love them picks, those are kind of like, hey, these are solid picks. Like them picks are, we like these a lot, but not quite as much as we love them. I mean, come on, guys, it's not rocket science. Check out the Patreon. It is not a lot. It gives you not only every UFC fight a month, but it gives Brandon, Eagle FC, Bellator, Fury, all of the regional cards. And then you get access to our Discord, okay? And the Discord is fun. That whole Discord is all about just a community of people who want to make money. Gambling, hockey, fights, stocks, NFTs, you name it. There's a thread. Come check us out. The link is in the show notes as well. And now we got JJ Aldrich and Jillian Robertson.
Yeah, I'll kick this one off. I like Jillian Robertson here. I think her grappling is very, very good. And as many wins as JJ has, she's never been dangerous on the feet, right? She will volume you to death. She's clean striker. She's got good range. She's got a lot of great things about her game, and she can wrestle a little bit for the division. But we saw in that Courtney Casey fight, we saw her get a little bit tired. I cashed the ticket on JJ, but I didn't really think she won that fight. I thought Casey lit her up on the feet. I thought Courtney Casey did, better everywhere. But I legitimately think Jillian Robertson is a very good jiu-jitsu black belt. Her wrestling leaves a lot to be desired, but she's almost got the Ronnie Yaya effect. I don't know if you saw that when I was sparring today, but I couldn't get my guy down. So he took me down and I said, great, let me lace a leg. And then I came up on top, and that's how I got my top control, right? Jillian's got a lot of the same thing. I will fall on my back. I will do pull guard. I will do whatever it takes to find the top position and engage in the grappling that way. And, look at the two girls. Okay. And this is not to be mean, but look at, just Jillian shredded. She's in great shape. She's just physically, you can see she's an animal. And then you look at JJ, who's soft, and JJ has overachieved her entire career. But I think in a fight where there's not a ton of danger on the feet, JJ is not some dominant K1 kickboxer that's going to stalk you and walk you down. I think she's going to leave a lot of opportunities for Jillian just to find a scramble, to be scrappy, to get in there. And I think she's just the better grappler. I think I, I'm trying not to fall in love with this pick, but I think this is the first time we see JJ actually look like what she looks like. And I like Jillian for the win.
That is interesting because um, I like Jillian Robertson. I like her. You hit it on the head with the uh, Henny comparison. I I don't even think her wrestling is as bad as what you just made it out to be, but her traditional wrestling is as bad as what you made it out to be. She does a good job shooting and coming out the back, taking the back, not even looking for the takedown, but looking for the back and dragging it down. She will shoot a single leg, not get it, and then pull half guard and then come back up almost like a half guard sweep and come up on top. I really like her ability to get on top. What's weird to me with Jillian is just how bad her striking still it's Jake Shields, all
Still,
right? I mean, this is like Jake Shields was such a good grappler and for the entirety of his career, like you're always like, all right, it's been 38 years now of striking at Fairtex. Jake's going to show us something. Nope, we were wrong. Jake's not going to show us something. His striking's still that bad. And
my
that's
favorite part was
Jillian.
they'd always talk about how he was like a national champion kickboxer and all these accolades. And I'm like, who was in the tournament?
Yeah, him. He was the only one. Jillian Robertson, man, I love her ability to scramble. We saw it in her last fight with Priscilla Coachalahara. You know, um, I mean, man, she gets on top. The best thing about Jillian Robertson is she knows how she's going to win. She's not like Dustin, or not Dustin Jacoby, I'm sorry, Cody Brundage. She's not like Alex Hernandez. They don't know how they're going to win the fight. They don't know who they are as a fighter. Jillian Robertson knows exactly who she is. She is going for 15 minutes straight. She's going to try and grab you. She's going to try and get you down. She's going to elbow you and punch you, and she wants your back and she wants to choke you out. You know, in terms of a marriage, that's a dream marriage in terms of my jujitsu. Like grab you, drag you, take your back, choke you. Love it, love it, love it. Aldrich, I do think is tough. I think she's tough. I think she's tough. I kind of prepared for her, a couple of times. Courtney fought her, which
Oh,
I
I
didn't.
needed that.
I didn't corner Courtney for that fight. I didn't train Courtney for that fight. Uh, but I watched tape for her and she asked my thoughts and I gave them to her. But Tracy Cortez was supposed to fight JJ and then Tracy got injured and then Vanessa ended up jumping in there. So I know JJ well. She is tough, man, and she really did throw a lot at Vanessa and she put a beating on Vanessa to say it lightly. But you said it, she's not scary. I don't know that she's gonna finish Jillian, and I think if you give Jillian that many opportunities, I think Jillian is gonna drag your ass down and come up on top, and, um, yeah, I think she ends up getting this fight to the ground. Now that said, I'm not as confident in her as you are. I think that JJ is tough, and I think that Jillian's striking is bad enough that if JJ can move and defend a little bit and bully her and beat her up, I don't know that she's gonna finish her, but maybe she steals a decision. I like Jillian here. Um, I'm not going, I'm not at the top of the mountain yelling it from the rooftops or, from the sky.
I think what was really impressive to me about Jillian was actually not even her MMA fights. Well, first, the Priscilla fight was bad at first. Her wrestling looked horrible, but then she ducked under and timed such a beautiful double. I mean, it was a great double leg once she found that rhythm. So you're right about conventional wrestling. It's her setups a lot because Jillian's hands are so bad that nobody believes that she's throwing a strike to set up the takedown. It's purely how are you getting this takedown? But I think what really swung me on this was actually her pro grappling match. She went up against a girl who's a tough girl, competes jiu-jitsu all the time. And her fight IQ, even in jiu-jitsu, like I don't need to play guard because it's a jiu-jitsu match. She got on top, she dominated top control. She did a lot of things really, really well. I love Dean Thomas being in her corner because he lets her be the crazy her, pull guard, half guard, but he doesn't let her accept the bottom position. And she fought Miranda Maverick very, very hard, who I think is almost a JJ clone, probably more power, better wrestling. And she scrambled and she did a lot of things really, really well in that fight. So I think this is Jill's fight to lose, to be honest.
Okay. Next up, we've got who do we have? Who do we have? Oh, Matt Semelsberger and AJ Fletcher. Um, Why don't you tell us about these gentlemen here, and then I'll chime in and give my 2 cents.
Okay, so I was saying this one, guys. uh, Anybody who tells you one way or the other on this fight, why? Just there's no reason to make a pick on this fight. You haven't seen enough of Fletcher yet. We don't know. I mean, there's on MMA Tape Index, there's 3 fights listed for AJ Fletcher. And all of them are dominant, beautiful wins. He's gotten literally no holes in his game. He completely dominated every single fight. He moves extremely well. He wrestles well. His setups are phenomenal. He looks to be in great shape. He didn't look tired. There is no reason to make a pick against AJ Fletcher unless you're just praying and hoping. I mean, Matt Semelsberger is good. Matt Semelsberger is durable. He's got good cardio. He's got some really good wins. But I mean, hold on, let's take a look. So Semelsberger 9-3. He lost to Chaos Williams, where he just got out physicaled, and Chaos is not a beautiful striker. And then he lost to Featherstone, who was 3-1, and then he lost. I'm sorry, 0-0, and then he lost by Darce choke to Darren Costa, who's 3-4. He's got wins over Carlton Minus, Jason Witt, Martin Sano. If you want me to be honest, I really don't value his UFC wins very much at all. Jason Witt caught him worst chin in the UFC. Martin Sano should not be in the UFC. Quick win there. I think Fletcher is better than what people know. Just watching what I can actually see on tape. His hands are clean. His kicks are dynamic. He can wrestle his ass off. I would say avoid this one, guys. We just don't know Fletcher. And the only little like instance in this whole situation that I found as like one edge is Matt Semelsberger fought Zolka Karaman. Oh, geez. We just call him Big Zolk. Where is he? Yeah, Zolkin Kombechekov. Okay, who's really good, who's really, really good. And Matt gave up an entire round where Zolk took him down and he never tried to get back up off his feet. He just seceded the round. And that really worries me with a guy who can wrestle as well as AJ Fletcher, right? AJ's with Dustin Poirier and all the Louisiana guys. That giving up a round, I know it was years ago, just scares me in a fight against AJ, who seems like a bulldog. Like if he can get you down and just pound you and beat you up, I think AJ could weirdly do that for 3 rounds. So for me, I think we don't have enough information. Got to sit this one out.
I'm not 100% opposed to that, but one, I think he's at Gladiators Academy with Crater, where Poirier's. I mean, that's his hometown gym, but he does camp at ATT. Does Poirier still train there at all when he's back
Yeah,
home?
he's with
Or
all the Louisiana guys.
okay,
Yep.
uh, I am
He
not.
corners them,
I don't.
coaches them. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, nice. I'm not as huge on AJ Fletcher. I don't think as you are. I think he has a tiny reach. I'm not wowed by his striking, honestly, at all. Even the flying knee on the Contender Series, I thought Damiani, I thought like kind of leaned into it, and I thought he looked horribly stiff. I and I like Semelsberger. I like his striking. He is not really against Cass Williams. He was tentative. All right, he was very tentative against Cass Williams, but I I like his striking. I like his fight. I think I like his physicality. He's got a huge height advantage. Not a huge height advantage, but a height and reach advantage. That's enough to talk about. And I like him. I think he's just a gritty, mean son of a bitch. And I like his striking. I like what I see. The issue is Fletcher, in one of his fights, he did not grow up wrestling. He's got a beautiful blast double. It's like one of the guys from our gym, JJ. Never grew up, never wrestled, in high school or anything. And I would actually put his wrestling, honestly, up against almost anybody on the planet at 155 pounds. It is stupid good. He kind of reminds me of that. Now, that said, guys who didn't grow up wrestling, they don't have, and I don't know Fletcher's jiu-jitsu background, all right? But like JJ, he can get you to the ground and then he can get submitted immediately after getting you there. He doesn't have he doesn't have the control. He doesn't have the riding time. He doesn't have that feel, that funk feel of actually grappling. He just knows the takedown, and he's phenomenal at it. Um, I don't think we've seen enough out of him. I agree with that. But I like Semelsberger. I think he does the right things. I think he's tough. I think he's a clean striker. Uh, if you want to throw money down, if you're like, man, I have to bet on this, I would bet Semelsberger. Uh, but I think you're right. We don't know enough about AJ Fletcher because we haven't seen him fight enough
Not very
quality
much. Yeah.
competition. And we don't know how his ground is. We don't really know. But honestly, I'm not big on his striking. I think his striking leaves a lot to be desired. I don't like how short he is. I don't like how he like lunges his way in with those short little stubby arms. I think they have his reach listed at 67. I mean, that's like a 5 foot woman with no arms. I mean, like that's tiny. And I think he's listed at 5'10. Uh, Gun to my head, I'm going Semelsberger here. I think the experience, I think being in the show, I think his striking, I think he's getting better about getting off of the cage, back up to his feet. Common wisdom, first fight in the UFC. I mean, all signs point to Semelsberger of if you have to bet this, bet that. But I don't think we've seen enough to Fletcher to really give a really good educated discussion about this.
I agree with you here. Smart money is Semelsberger, and in that Zulk fight, he did get taken down once, give up the round, and then he had some good defenses after that. So I think you're right. The smart money's on Semelsberger.
And I just like his willingness to fight. I think he's a clean striker. Again, chaos. He was backing up. He was not comfortable in there with him. But his other fights, man, it's hard to knock two like sub 20-second knockouts because the opponents were bad. But man, you have two sub 20-second knockouts in the UFC. Like, man, that says something. That says something. That says something. I don't know if I want to touch this fight, but I'm not sold on AJ, and I really do. I like Semelsberger. I think he's solid fighter.
All
Now,
right.
next up,
Well,
we've got.
next up,
Oh, I don't even want to talk about this fight. I don't even want to talk about this fight, but I want to talk about this fight. We have Alex Pereira and Bruno Silva at 185 pounds. For you guys who don't know Alex Pereira, first of all, shame on you. Shame, shame, shame. Walk through the streets naked like they did in Game of Thrones because freaking shame on you. Pereira is one of the best kickboxers we've seen in a long time. I mean, he's, you know, Nicky Holtzkein. He's Robin, geez, I can't even say
Van
his name.
Roosmalen, my guy.
I was going to say Van Hoosmalen. I'm too much Portuguese in my soul. Bader Hari. He's a glory mainstay champ. He is the top of the top of the top. Knocked out Izzy in glory. That's not his claim to fame, but his MMA claim to fame. Like Izzy is the champion. Izzy is knocking everybody out. Well, Pereira knocked Izzy out. He's the real deal. He is the real deal kickboxer. He's tall for the division. He's 6'4". He's athletic. He's training with Glover Teixeira. Who honestly is one of the best grapplers out there. His cage grappling is phenomenal. His wrestling is phenomenal. His jiu-jitsu is phenomenal. And, Pereira, we saw in his debut, he withstood the early grappling and got the flying knee knockout. My worry about Pereira is when we see guys going from kickboxing to MMA, they're used to the bigger gloves. And so they're used to blocking a little bit differently. And they think that they're safer than they are with their stance and with their chin and with their height and the way that they hold their hands. And you saw that even a little bit in his last fight. It kind of worries me, especially against a guy like Bruno Silva, who is legitimately phenomenal. He is,
Oh,
high guard, good jab, follows it up with good combinations, attacks the body well, knows the clinch well, is a good grappler. Honestly, he does really, I mean, pretty much everything well. He's not too old. He's 32, so he's seasoned just perfectly. Um, he is on a 7 fight win streak. All of those by punches. All of those by KO or TKO. Every single one of them. And that is 3 of those are in the UFC. We just talked about Wellington Turman. I
And
mean,
not
that was a
just first
ground and pound.
round. And not all just first round. Some of them were third round, fourth round. So that's telling you he's not
Yes.
just a blitzkrieg.
Yep. He is composed. And honestly, he's got the Kimura loss to Moises Rimbone in 2016. And then besides that, he hadn't lost again since 2014. So since 2014, he has lost 1 fight. I mean, he has a good fight IQ. He wrestles well. I mean, he's not a world beater wrestler, but he knows how to do it. Honestly, the thing that worries me here is the height of Pereira and the knees. And it's weird because, I mean, I just said he won his last 7 fights. All right. All by KO or TKO or ground and pound. All right. As weird as this is going to sound, I don't think of him as a crazy power puncher. Um, I think he has decent power, but it's not like, oh man, he touches you and the lights go out. He has good volume. He rips.
It's
He
thud.
snaps his punches. Yeah, but he's throwing 2, 3, 4 punches. They're just clean. It's just solid. It's not like he's throwing like Ankalaev in the first fight of the night, just swinging that overhand. If it lands, you hope people die. He really has everything. I might be alone here. I want. Don't bet this, you guys. Don't bet what I'm saying because it sounds insane. I want to bet Bruno Silva here because I just think that he's the more well-rounded fighter. But that said, I mean, Pereira could flying knee his ass and put him out, or he could left hook him. What did we see in Pereira's last fight before he got to the UFC? I mean, man, just that quick left hook, just dropping people right around the ear. Pereira really, really, really is that good. I just feel like Bruno Silva has so many ways to win. He has good cardio. He has good fight IQ. And he's got to know what he's getting into with Pereira.
I wish that I could have started this one out because I am in love with Bruno Silva. You thought I went crazy for Camuela. Just you wait. Here we go. Um, no, but seriously, let's take a look at his record. I mean, his record is unbelievable. He's not beating cans. I mean, he's a guy like Camuela who was fighting tough guys pre UFC, gets to the UFC, fights tough guys, right? So he beat let's see, Fabio Aguiar, right? Just a name that I can recognize. That guy's in Bellator, doing really, really well. Let's see, he beat Gennady Kovalev, who was 17-6, Alexander Shlemenko, Artem Frolov, who's an ACA darling. He beat Wellington Turman, Andrew Sanchez, and then Jordan Wright, whatever. But he beat specialists. He beat guys that were crazy, right? Andrew Sanchez out wrestled him for 2.5 rounds, and he's just an ultra vet. He's an ultra veteran before he even got to the UFC. He has fought wrestlers, he's fought strikers, he has fought everybody on earth. I love me some Bruno Silva. The Wellington Turman fight was the fight that got me to go, Wellington has good cage wrestling because he took Bruno down and he got some really good positions. Bruno found his way to the top. His jiu-jitsu is excellent. His top, he knows how to fight. He just knows how to fight. He knows how to conserve his energy, just like we saw with Andrew Sanchez. Knew he was down and knew he needed a finish, and he understands how to fight, how to conserve himself. He's got great fight IQ. His striking to me is excellent. I freaking love his striking. His ground and pound, maybe the scariest thing that I've ever seen in my life. Like the way that he KO'd Wellington Turman was terrifying. Just those big giant fists, just the way that they thud. He's unbelievable to me. I love me some Bruno Silva, which is why when this fight got announced, I was excited to see it, but I don't understand it. I mean, you're killing off one guy that's got all the potential in the world, either Periera or Bruno Silva. If Periera wins this, he is the realest deal in the UFC. Like, you got to watch out. He's on a fast track to a title shot. that being said, last time I was a little bit critical. I gave the don't overthink that for his last fight. He was fighting Micheladas, who was a great matchup for him because Michelada's not a great wrestler, and we still saw him take him down. We saw him have moments in round one. Honestly, probably won the first round. It's weird. I think Periera's got dinosaur bones. He just is so freaking slow. He's just so freaking slow. And I think you said it is the big gloves give you a lot of comfort. He can absorb a lot of shots. He can download a lot of information by covering himself for a long time. Where now we got 4-ounce gloves. Bruno Silva hits like a tank. You have to watch out for takedowns. You fake the takedown, you come over the top. It's just so much different. It's just so much different of a game. And I like Bruno Silva, the guy who's a lot more well-rounded in the sport of MMA to figure out a way to get it done. And if you want to get crazy, bet Bruno Silva by KO. And that might sound like the most shocking take of all time, but you told me this with Joanna when Joanna was on top. You said someday she's going to get knocked out. That's how she's going to lose. And I said, you're crazy. Rose knocked her out. And then Gokhan Saki came to the UFC, who's equal level of kickboxer. Khalil Roundtree knocked Gokhan out. It's a big difference when you have the small gloves. It happens all the time. And Bruno's got power. He's got good striking. He's a veteran. And Periera's so slow. So I'm going to join you on the hill. I'm willing to die here with my guy Bruno Silva.
Man, I'm glad because I thought I was going to be up here alone. The other thing that I think people don't realize as much too is these guys coming in from K1 and Glory, high level boxers. I think they sleep on the technical level of MMA fighters, and I think they also sleep on MMA fighters. And this is the difference: is I've kickboxed before. All right, you have 10-ounce gloves on. The difference of a 10-ounce kickboxing glove and a 4-ounce MMA glove, I mean, that's like me hitting you with a pillow and then me grabbing a brick and smashing it against your face. And you get guys in MMA who are like, you hit them with a 3-piece with a brick and they just stand there and swing back. A lot of people are not willing to, everybody says they're willing to trade. When push comes to shove, and you're throwing down, there are certain people that do not want to get hit with those 4-ounce gloves. And then there are other people who just don't give a shit. Bruno Silva is okay with those 4-ounce gloves and getting hit. We don't know if Alex Pereira is yet. And we've seen all the other examples that you just brought up. Those people aren't used to those 4-ounce gloves. And we see really good kickboxers turn into wrestlers really quickly when they start getting hit with those 4-ounce gloves. I'm not. We could be 100% wrong here, and Pereira goes out in flying knees.
We could be because he could starch him easy.
He could starch him, and that would not surprise me at all. But I'm standing behind Bruno Silva on this one. I'm up here on the hill with you. All right, what do we have next? We've got Drew Dober. What a freaking night of fights, man! All of these fights are not going to live up to the expectations, but man, holy shit, some of them have to. I mean, we've got the Bruno Silva, Pereira fight, and then we've got freaking Drew Dober and Terrence McKinney. And have you ever seen a boring Drew Dober fight? Like, that doesn't exist.
Oh my God.
Have you ever seen a boring Terrence McKinney fight? Like, they don't even know what it is. And the good thing I like about this fight is we see it a lot with these heavyweights, Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou. Everyone's like, this is going to be the best fight ever. And nobody does anything. You said it last week with Ludovic Klein and Devontae Smith. Like, it's going over a round and a half. Like, this is not one of those.
Was I the only one in the world to call that? Everyone said fight doesn't go the distance. I think I might have been the only one in the world to call over 1.5.
You probably were. And, but one of those. This one, they're not stylistically so similar. And so I feel like their aggressiveness is not going to cancel each other out. You get 2 D1 national champion wrestlers and everybody wants to see a wrestling match. And what do you get?
Yeah, striking battle.
Exactly. And that's this. Everybody wants to see these 2 phenomenal strikers go at it and somebody starts wrestling. But here you don't have that. You have a very dynamic striker, a very dynamic fighter, shoots in, phenomenal wrestler, fast, athletic as it gets. And then you've got Drew Dober, who is, I hate to call him a journeyman because he's not. He's better than a journeyman. He is a perennial top 20 to top 12 type of guy, maybe 10 to 20, somewhere in there. He's going to beat a lot of guys, but he's always going to lose to those, not always going to lose, but he generally loses to those guys in the top 5, top 10. We saw it with Brad Riddell, and I thought he won that fight. I thought he did more damage. It was a very close fight. Of course, Islammed him, so you can't hate him on that. He beat Hernandez. One of the most impressive things that I saw was his loss to Beneil Dariush. I mean,
Unbelievable. He was beating
unbelievable.
the hell out of him.
Yeah, and then he just got armbarred. I mean, that was a phenomenal performance. What impressed me most in that Brad Riddell fight is his chin. I mean, he landed a lot of good shots. He hurt Riddell. The issue that Drew Dober has is, as a southpaw, people rock back and they land an overhand right on him all the time. Not even a straight. They wait for him to swing. He's got those little tiny stubby arms, and then they counter him with short right hook, short right overhands. And he gets hit a lot with those. I've never even seen him phased. He doesn't even get wobbled. He doesn't even take a step. He just gets hit with them. You see guys out wrestle him. We don't see guys outstrike him. Everybody out wrestles him. They're like, nope, not doing it. He is solid. He is good. On the other side, we have Terrence McKinney, and he looked phenomenal against that Ferris, in that Ferris IM fight. Shot in, took him down, took his back, choked him out. I think that is the only way that he wins this Drew Dober fight. I think he will have to shoot in, use his wrestling fast, and get a quick submission, because I think Drew Dober is too durable. And I said it in the Ferris IM fight with Terrence McKinney. McKinney, for as good as he is, he makes so many mistakes. He throws so hard that he will twirl himself around and fall on the ground. He goes so hard on these shots that he will end up on his back. And he recovers, and he does stuff really well to recover. But he's so big, like in all of his movements, that he makes such big mistakes. And Drew Dober, I mean, man, he's just solid. He's just solid. He's solid. He's that guy that you talk about as the ultra vet. I mean, we saw Alex Hernandez take him down a couple times, and Drew Dober was composed, sat there for a minute, but scooted back, got back up. I think for McKinney to win, he's got to get a quick submission. Otherwise, I think the ultra vet durability of Drew Dober comes out, and I think Dober gets the dub.
I am with you 10,000%. I think this is one of the better spots this week. So I ran through all the McKinney fights because I've bet on every card, all the last 5 cards that McKinney's fought on, but I never actually watched him fight. I didn't even get to watch the Ferris Ziam fight. And it's not like he shot some beautiful, crazy double leg takedown. They had some weird high kick scramble where actually McKinney was on his back and kind of rolled to the top. So it wasn't because I thought that. I was like, is he going to come out and just wrestle to begin with? But it was some weird scramble. He overextends himself so badly on everything. And like you said, he's so athletic, he can recover. I say it all the time. He fights like an ape. He just does. And he swings way too much, way too hard, way too early. And he's lucky he's putting these guys out. But let's look back for some clarity, right? So Terrence McKinney, he has beaten Derek Sanders, whose career record is 4-3. He beat Taquinho Galvinho, who is 38 years old. He beat Michael Irize Ortiz, who's fat. And then he caught Frivola fair and square. But Frivola definitely has had some chin problems. And then the weird scramble was Ziam just looked like he quit. Didn't even really look like the choke was in that deep, or like a million ways he could have got out. I am impressed less with the resume the more that I look at it. I think he's very talented. I think he's got great hips, all the athleticism in the world, but I don't think he's got the technical prowess of somebody like Drew Dober. I think Drew Dober is an ultra veteran. His striking is gorgeous. Man, he puts up volume. He sees things so freaking well. His kicks are awesome. And I'm really excited to see the southpaw look for Drew Dober. Now the calf kicks are in play. Now just the leg kicks and just the jab is more in play. I think his punches are infinitely straighter, cleaner. I think he can put a great pace. I don't think he's going to tire the way that McKinney's going to tire. And you look at level of competition, it is not even in the same universe, not in the same realm. So the more that I've sat down with this one and looked at it, I love Dober here. I think he's awesome. So that's going to be where I go with this one.
Yeah, and I say it all the time to you fighters. It's not who's better, it's who fucks up first. And I mean, that's this fight right here. And generally, there's two parts to that. Generally, the person who gets tired first, or generally the person who doesn't have as good basics and mechanics. Because everybody is athletic the first round. You throw something, and if I'm more athletic, I can just jump out of the way. I can dart out of the way. But first of all, when you're tired, you're not as fast and those things don't happen. But secondly, by jumping out of the way that many times, it makes you more tired. So you're expending a lot more energy. And then when you do get tired, you don't have the energy to expend to get out of the way of those things. And I think Dober probably has a better cardio. And I think Dober almost certainly has the better basics. So you can always get a one, and probably not in wrestling. McKinney will probably get a couple takedowns somewhere here and there, but I think Dober's smart enough to get back up and do the right things. Again, I think McKinney needs to get something quick and early, or I think this is all Dober's fight.
Dober defends single legs and Dober defends traditional wrestling very well. He's always controlling hands. He's getting his hips back. He's pulling up on the arms and making himself skinny. He defends traditional wrestling, singles and double legs, which McKinney's best at, very well. Where Dober struggles, and we saw this with Islam, which was the most unbelievable trip I've ever seen. It's the trips. It's the body locks that screw Dober. It's mostly the trips, the things he doesn't see. I don't know that McKinney can take him down over and over and over again every time. I think Dober's got good enough takedown defense from traditional wrestling.
Yeah, that Islam takedown was some of the highest level stuff. He came up with that single, he defended it, and he chopped him down. Our coach Angel Cejudo goes over that all the time, and I rarely see something that high level in uh, in MMA outside of really Angel. And the other thing though is Hernandez took him down a couple of times. He timed some stuff under some punches. The other thing is he actually threw as Dober was off balance. If Dober is off balance, he doesn't have good scrambling hips. If you scramble with him, you will out wrestle him. But if you hit him head on, like a lot of non-native wrestlers, people who didn't grow up wrestling, he's going to stop that single and the double. But what McKinney actually does well, and I forget what fight we saw this in, it was an LFA fight. Shot the worst single I've ever seen. It's kind of almost a double, and then immediately turn it into a single, but immediately turn that into actually what we were doing today, a limp arm. Just circled around and limp armed. And at first, as he was shooting, I was like, worst shot I've ever seen. And half a second later, I was like, that was gorgeous. Because he shot knowing he wasn't getting anywhere and just immediately spun around and came up to that limp arm to the back. And if he does something like that with Dober, he will get on Dober's back. He will get him down. I think Dober is technical enough to defend it early, and I don't know that McKinney is going to get there later as the fight goes.
All
And
right,
then
let's see. Up next,
who do we got?
oh,
Who do
you
we
got some
got?
last thoughts?
No,
Okay,
no, no.
next up
I was
we
pulling.
got God, let me talk. It's Khalil Roundtree and Carl Robertson.
Go for it because
Roberson.
I am curious your thoughts on this because I have many.
Wow. I'm actually, I'll be really honest with you guys. This we were cramming this stuff in, all the last minute tape. I think I got everything really, really solid. This is the one fight that kind of fell by the wayside because I'm looking at two guys with about even records and about even skill sets, and I'm just thinking, honestly, it's who lands first. I don't really know. The only edge that I see is Roberson's a little bit more athletic. He's got really good body kicks. I just think he's faster, younger, more athletic. I am honestly going to stay away from this fight. So let's just hear your thoughts on this one.
Okay, so I think you're going the wrong way on this. I
Okay.
think what you said was, skill set wise, you've got two kickboxers, right? Um, I would say Roundtree's a little bit more Thai and Roberson's a little bit more K1 glory, for com- gross general comparisons. All
Yes.
right. Low kicks. That said, Roundtree just swings heavy on you. Almost Vanderlei Silva, left hook, right hook in his punches, but his kicks frames his knees a lot and fires those low kicks, fires the middle kicks. We've seen it a lot. Roberson moves well. Um, he almost Dustin Jacoby's it. Looks around left, leading with his right shoulder, leading around. His footworks, he's gliding back and switching stances. He really looks the part, and his stand up is good as well. This fight is going to be won or lost from wrestling. Can Roberson get this fight to the ground? Roberson has a lot of jiu-jitsu wins. He's got a lot of I'm going to pull up his record now. I mean, submitted Darren Stewart, who is people like to hate on him, but he's actually solid.
Me.
Um,
No, come on.
yeah, I mean Roman Kopylov, the rear naked choke. He's got Darren Stewart. He got that rear naked choke off of a throw. He's got good body lock throws. Um, beat Derek Brown by an armbar. He's athletic. He's got good trips. He's got good throws. He's sneaky with his takedowns. I believe he's at Glory now with James Krause. So, I mean, we just saw Tim Elliott really up his wrestling game in this last fight. I think this fight comes down to, um, I think Khalil Roundtree is going to win the stand-up battle. I think he's going to win the stand-up battle almost hands down. I don't even think it's going to be close. And I think Roberson, can he get this fight to the ground? And can he grab a neck? Can he out jujitsu? Can he out wrestle? I think that's where this fight is going to be won or lost. I think Khalil is going to be all gas. I mean, and he definitely slowed. I don't know that I would say Khalil gasses, but he slows down because he came out in that last fight really heavy, really hot, swinging, blasting stuff. We saw him blasting leg kicks against my guy Eric Anders. We've seen that a lot, and then he does slow down, but I don't know that he fades horribly. He just settles in. I think when he settles in, I think that's when Roberson is going to have the opportunity to uh, once that quick athletic first round jittery kill you goes away, if Roberson's still standing, I think that's when the Roberson the jiu-jitsu, we start to see that. We start to see the wrestling. James Krause is pretty new. He's a solid coach, man. He's a solid coach. He has good game plans. His guys are doing well. I don't know, where's Roundtree training these days? Do you know? I think he's at Extreme. I
I
think
don't know. Like I said,
I yeah, I think he's at Extreme, and honestly, Eric Nixick has been doing well with those bigger guys. I'm not big on Nixick's. Not say I'm not big on Nixick. I would just say that I think the smaller guys at Extreme Couture have not had the success that the heavier guys have had lately. For whatever reason, I don't know why. In my head, I think the bigger guys at Nick Six Place at Extreme just are doing really well right now, and the smaller guys, and I could be wrong there. That's just what I'm thinking in my head. Um, I don't know if I'm going to touch it. Uh, I'm leaning Roberson because I think he has more ways to win.
all right. You're leaning okay, I'm with you there. I think Roberson is a solid pick. I just think that Khalil's just so rigid and just kind of slow and just methodical.
See, I love Khalil round one. I love Khalil. He's going out there and he is pressuring and swinging, and I love his freaking kicks. I just think that I don't think he's going to knock Roberson out, and I think he will fade a little bit, and I think he'll end up getting body lock, tripped, dragged down to the mat, and then I think Roberson's going to take over. Well, not even saying that he will. I'm saying that if he gets the body locks, if he gets the takedowns, then he will probably win. I'm leaning Roberson here. I'm not on the Bruno Silva mountaintop though.
All right. What's up next?
Okay, so next up we've got Alex Caceres and Sadiq Yusuff. And I want to talk about this one because these lines, I'm going to look at the lines that I have up here. Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? They are I don't see them. Oh, okay. They're all the way at the bottom. And this isn't even refreshed, so it was from earlier today. The lines might have moved a little bit. Plus 200 Caceres. Sadiq Yusuff is minus 250. Uh, I'm going to lead with this. A lot of times we talk about it. I think we build up to what we're going to say and, all of that for suspense value. I think this line is batshit crazy. I think Caceres is hugely underrated. He has lost to Kron Gracie in 2019, and man, since then he's beaten. The level of competition is not what
Yeah, I was
Sadiq
gonna
has
say, you
been
want to read
doing.
the names?
Yeah, yeah, no, not even remotely. Steven Peterson, Chase Hooper, Austin Springer, Kevin Kroom, your boy Choi,
Okay,
and
come on, come on, come on, come on.
no, because that actually is relevant here, and I'll get to that in a second. Choi, um, Sadiq he's 11-2, so man, on paper he should be murdering Caceres. Caceres is 19-12. Caceres has 12 losses, you guys. All right. So Caceres is supposed to be the guy that gets murdered by Sadiq. Sadiq just lost a decision to Arnold Allen, who is phenomenal in his own right. Okay. And since Sadiq has been in the UFC on Contender Series, he beat Mike Davis. But honestly,
Great win.
he beat Suman Mokhtarian. He beat Shimon Moraes, Gabe Benitez, Andre Fili, and then he lost to Arnold Allen. Um, I
All
mean,
vets.
they are, but those are not like. I mean, Andre Fili, I actually think is good. I've been kind of negative on him lately, like just with some of the stuff we fought Andre Fili and this and that. I and I don't know why, because I'm watching him fight Sadiq, man. He took Sadiq down a lot. Like I was actually impressed with him in that Sadiq fight, rewatching tape. The issue with Sadiq, and I don't know that Alex Caceres is going to have anything to do with this. That dude gets dropped 68 times a fight. Um, I mean, it's crazy. Like he, for as good as Sadiq is, the issue with Sadiq, and this goes against all the stuff is he's got a high guard, which I love. He's got a good jab. Honestly, it's Tafan. We talked about him earlier. They striking wise, they act the exact same way. They are in your face, plodding forward, hands high, really good jab, good power. Sadiq's a lot faster than Tafan, but I mean, stylistically, very similar striking patterns right there. Sadiq had a hard time with Andre Fili when Andre Fili would move a lot. And man, if Andre Fili is out juking you, then Caceres is going to out juke you. Caceres' footwork is really, really good. And what he does really well is, and Caceres is predominantly a southpaw, okay? Sadiq is orthodox. He's going to come in. He's going to be swinging that jab. And what Caceres does is he rocks out and he throws a check right hook, and he swings his back leg out and takes an angle on you as you go. Um, he uses his range really well. We saw him get clipped by Choi, okay? Because what Caceres does, he's used to being the taller, longer, rangier fighter, and so he rocks like Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva was so used to rocking back and moving and just sliding out of people's way that when who the hell was it? Freaking knocked him out.
Weidman.
Weidman, yeah. So when Weidman stepped in and hit him a couple times because Anderson got a little sloppy, knocked him out. Of course, stuff like that happens. Choi is the tallest man in Korea. He's 6 foot. He's got like a 75 or a 76-inch reach. I don't think Caceres is used to fighting people that tall, and I think that range really messed with Caceres. Um, and Caceres found a way to win that fight. His grappling is very improved. His fight IQ is very
Very
improved.
good. Very good.
Yes, he is going to be tall and long in touch, and Sadiq is going to swing and miss. And I like, I think Caceres gets the upset here. I know that this is a big dog. That's a bold statement. I'm not sitting on the fence here going, I don't know. I'm gonna lean Caceres for the upset. I think Caceres is going to. I think Sadiq is good. I think this style with Sadiq is going to be very hard. We saw it with Arnold Allen. Allen moved a lot, and Sadiq had a hard time with that movement. Andre Fili moved a lot. And then Andre Fili gassed himself out wrestling, and he clipped Sadiq, dropped him. Man, I think Caceres is going to use his footwork and point his way to kind of an uneventful, lackluster victory.
I am going to go the complete other direction here, and
I
it's
now
not
hold on.
for.
I think everybody is going the complete other direction here.
But it's actually it's weird because I'm seeing the exact same things you are. The way that he manages distance, and we talk about it. He'll put his chin out there and then he does the lean back, and people can't gauge that distance, and it's really tough for people. But here's the difference for me: watching the Choi fight back, he got cracked, right? He got cracked with that too. He was getting outstruck for most of the fight. Actually, the weirdest part that was really concerning me, I didn't think Choi would lose that way. I thought Choi was going to lose by those little tricky kicks that just kept smacking his jaw, and we kept hearing it. But the thing is you want to talk about Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen sits down on his punches. Every time he hit Sadiq, it was a thud. He met him right there. He car crashed and he cracked him. What I worry about with Alex Caceres is he moves so much, just like we talk about. His punches are always trailing, and he doesn't really have that same power, that same pop that not only can hurt Sadiq, but that's also going to keep Sadiq off of him. Um, I think Sadiq's boxing is really, really clean. It's tight, and I think that if and when Alex engages, he's gonna meet Sadiq right there. I would never put this one in a huge parlay, anything like that. Not serious big money. I think Sadiq can wrestle enough. I think his jiu-jitsu is good enough, and I think he wants it bad enough to press the action, put him on the cage, make it ugly, and just land big shots. I think his striking is just more straight line, and Alex can move all he wants, but at the end of the day, to win the fight, he's gonna have to throw something. And when he throws something, I like Sadiq to meet him in the middle, and I like the power, the low center of gravity, just the cleaner strikes. It's I just got to go Sadiq here, and I feel decent about it. I think I'm going to get it back on this one.
See, the thing it's funny because I think the exact same thing is Alex doesn't sit down on his punches. He moves so much, which means the power's not going to be there, which it won't be. Um, I think Alex plays tag, and that's why I think it's going to be an uneventful. I think we're expecting this big slugfest.
Mm.
I think we're going to see Sadiq swing and miss, and I don't think Alex. I think Alex is going to touch, touch, touch. If they are close, he's going to grab. I think this is going to be. I think people are expecting a great fight here, and I think this is going to be a very boring affair because I don't think he's going
Well,
to engage a
actually, now
lot.
that you say that, you're right. He's such a veteran. He doesn't need to engage. He can just tag and move and move and move and move.
And I think that's what he's going to
And
do.
his
I don't think
grappling
he's
is on
going to.
another level.
And I think if I don't think he needs power because Sadiq rushes into punches so much that if Caceres just flicks one of those little kicks out there, Sadiq is going to headbutt it. And I think Sadiq's punches are so big and so wide that he doesn't cover them up well. He looks the part. He throws that jab. He has that high guard. He looks like he's composed. But when he starts swinging, it is all fire and hellstone and hellfire and brimstone. And I think now that people have seen enough tape on Sadiq, I think they know that. And I think Caceres is going to know that. And he's going to see those big punching reads. And I think he's just going to swing and miss, touch him, swing and miss in a very boring fight that everyone is going to go, just lay hands on him once, hit him once, just get in there once. And I think it's going to be a very frustrating fight for Sadiq and very boring. And I don't think anybody is really going to get hurt. I think if anybody is hurt, I think it's actually Sadiq catching a flicking jab as he's coming in that drops him to a knee and then he pops right back up.
Can you imagine if Caceres wins again, 6 in a row in the UFC?
I
That'd be
know.
crazy.
It's crazy. So that's my take on it. I think I know I'm going 100% against everyone. I think Sadiq is solid. I think he hits hard. I think his boxing is good. I think he's aggressive. I think his own aggressiveness is going to be the end here because he doesn't manage footwork well. And that's what I think is. I think if you're going to stand there and trade with him, look at the guys who he's beat. All right. Shimon Moraes, who's trained with me for a long time. I know Shimon well. Shimon is going to stand there and go toe to toe with you. Gabriel Benitez, who dropped Sadiq as well, is going to stand there and go toe to toe with you. Andre Fili, who Sadiq beat, was actually he dropped Sadiq as well, and gassed himself out wrestling. And then Arnold Allen, who dropped Sadiq as well. And Arnold Allen is I mean, that dude is top 10. He's phenomenal. But the theme here is that those are all guys willing to just bite down on their mouthpiece and swing punch for punch. Caceres isn't doing that.
All right. We are in the co-main event of the evening.
Kick it off.
Let's
Kick it
see.
off. Kick it off.
All right. So co-main event, we got Marlon Moraes versus Song Yadong. And I love this spot, and I'm looking for every reason to not unload here. I know. So we talked about this at the gym. Marlon Moraes is phenomenal. I mean, picture perfect kickboxing. It is excellent. Everything. His switch kick is one of the best we've ever seen. I mean, just his pure technical striking is gorgeous. But as of late, his chin and his cardio, nothing can line up. Nothing can match. I really wanted to have faith because, the thing that I really like about Song is he manages his distance and his range so well. Every time he's in range, his hands are up. He's always right at his face, hands are up. He sees things really well. He's able to kind of get in and out of range as people throw kicks, punches. He just sees it well. And I'm thinking, okay, well, if he's not going to be pressing Marlon and he's not going to wrestle Marlon, now we're talking about a kickboxing fight. And I wanted to say I could take Marlon in a straight kickboxing fight, but then he's getting rocked and put down with jabs or just basic twos. He's getting exhausted after one round of work. He's just literally finding ways to just to quit. He almost had Merab on. He could have stopped. They could have stopped the Merab fight. Nobody would have complained. He had him that badly hurt. And then he figures out a way to be on his back, getting elbowed in the skull, and the next round comes out, gets dropped, and finished. I think Song is good. I think the UFC is giving him one here. This is his veteran test, a guy that's chin is declining, whose cardio is suspect at best, who quits in fights. We saw him quit with Henry. Henry put it on him. I think if Song makes it out of the first round, which I think he will, because I think Song is durable. I think Song has good cardio. I think Song striking is aggressive and very, very good. I think Song does everything well. I really think this is Song's fight to lose, and I'm having a tough time seeing any other direction here.
I am 100% against that. I think Marlon knocks him out in round 1.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm actually not. I don't agree with that at all. I think watching tape on Song, if you see him in some of his earlier fights, he's a little looser with his guard. All right. He's kind of like his hands are down. He's a little bit square. And when he jabs, all right, you guys out there, you always hear people talk about center line, getting your head off line, getting your head off line. Yes. But there's an extent to that. In boxing, I can get if I'm orthodox, so that means I fight right hand back, left hand forward. If I throw my jab with my left hand and I rock to my right a little bit to get my head off center line, okay, that's good. All right. But if I do that a little bit too much in boxing, it's pretty much no recourse. When kicks are flying at your head, you bring your head too far off a center line, you go right into a kick. Or if he were to fight Marlon Song, that is, a couple of years ago, he is getting head kicked. All right. We saw Rivera, we saw Aljo, get head kicks right back to back. I mean, Marlon's left head kick is a thing of freaking beauty. His striking is a thing of freaking beauty. Man, that right hook, left hook, right hand, left hook that he hit Merab with that put him down. I mean, his low kicks against Henry, his high kicks against Aljo and Jimmy, man, name it, phenomenal. And then Song, man, he's looping, ducking his head. I'm going, this dude is getting head kicked. And then you watch him as he's progressed throughout the UFC, his UFC career, his
Man,
boxing has gotten cleaner. And it was already good before, but it was a little bit raw. He's in a better stance. He's a little bit more upright, which is better for MMA, especially against kickers. Um, he's got phenomenal cardio. He's got a chin. I think his wrestling is not phenomenal, but he's a striker,
but
and I
it's
think
serviceable for
it's
sure.
serviceable. And I think his defensive wrestling is good. Um, I mean, can this is Alex Pereira and Bruno Silva. Can Pereira knock Silva out? Absolutely. Can Marlon Moraes go out there and knock Song out? 100%. Man, this is the fight game. Anything can happen. Absolutely. Do they want to build Song? Yes. They love the Chinese market. It is a huge market. Song is a star. He's that guy. He's the guy that they want to build. His boxing is great. His distance management is great. He's the guy that puts his
Wow.
hands down and goes rocks in and out. Now he doesn't want to do that against Marlon because those head kicks, but he understands how to get people to throw and back up and push and pull, and he understands when to pressure people. Um, the last fight we saw of Marlon was Merab. All right, let's forget about that for a second. The weirdest fight I can imagine of Marlon's recently was a Rob Font fight. Rob Font, clean boxer. And I called that one to a T. I said, Rob is knocking him out. This is happening. His boxing, whatever. Now, Marlon went out there and shot. And almost right off the bat, shot in, took Rob Font down. And Rob Font has the worst takedown defense the world has ever seen at that high of a level. Him and Anthony Smith. Um, but Font has good jiu-jitsu. He finds a way back up. It's fine. But that was the most mellow 2 minutes on the ground that I have ever seen in an MMA fight. It was like they were just rolling for fun. It wasn't like they were mad at each other. It was like, "Hey, you wanna roll? Sure, let's roll." And then they stood back up, and Marlon Moraes was more tired than I've ever seen a human. And Rob Font hit him with like a jab, and Marlon fell over. And I don't know what it is with Marlon, but his cardio is not there anymore. Him and Edson, they were both up, they grew up training together. They were both up at Mark Henry's in
Mark
Jersey for
Henry.
years and years and years. Then they went back down. They both moved back down to ATT together. Uh, they're the difference though is I think Edson's 36 and Marlon's 33. It's weird for me to see a guy at 33 who has cardio issues like that, who's just man, who just has these brain lapses. I don't think I think Marlon's on his way out. I think Song is on his way up. I like Song here, and cardio is king, man. Cardio is freaking king.
I think we're in agreement on that one, which takes us to the main event.
You know, before we get to the main event, I've watched. There's going to be a soundbite out there of people going. Santino said Marlon Moraes was knocking him out in round one. I'm just gonna laugh. But again, before we get to the main event, you guys make sure you check out our sponsors. Who's the first one we have, Brandon?
LaCroix, always and forever.
Always. And of course we check out our Patreon. Oh, and our second is Morgan, or is that Jesus?
Marshall Rogan Inu.
Marshall Rogan. I was saying Marshall Rogan, check it out. It's in the description below. Doing a lot of great things for a lot of fighters. The crypto game is crazy. The crypto game is crazy, and it's the next wave. It's a new wave. So you guys check them out, Marshall Rogan, and then of course check out our Patreon. You get all of our picks. In our Discord, you get to hang out and chat with Brandon and I whenever you want, especially on fight day. And sometimes we send you guys shit too. So that's always fun. But we've got in the main event Thiago Santos, Magomed Ankalaev. Um, I'll talk about Santos. Why don't you talk about Ankalaev? And we'll go from there. And I guess the first thing we have to say about Santos is that stop, you guys, stop. Santos is not the Santos that you guys think he is. He fought John Jones and looked phenomenal. He was beating people to an inch of their lives, and he was the scariest human on the planet. And that big ass hammer of Mjolnir on his chest was in his fist, and he was killing people. And he came back after the knee surgeries and the time off, and he got old, and actually old, and in fight years old as well. He's 38. He had to take some time off. He lost a split decision to John Jones. Glover took him down, beat him up. The Ratchik fight, I mean, Ratchik just, I thought, just picked him apart. But more than anything is his fight with Johnny Walker. He won that fight. You saw in the Ratchik fight and you saw it in the Johnny Walker fight. He's not the aggressive guy that made him scary. He's not the guy that made him scary. Those big power punchers that go out there, the Mike Tysons, once they lose that killer instinct, they're teddy bears. And I think Thiago Santos is now a teddy bear. He backs up. He's tentative. He's not in your face swinging. He tries to be overly technical. I don't know if he's worried about his body, if he's worried about getting hurt, if he's worried about his cardio, but he doesn't pull the trigger, and he's not a scary guy anymore. I mean, that's really his wrestling's not bad. It's not great. His cardio's not bad. It's not great. What was great was his just power, his chin, and his ability to throw down. That dude was starching people in a scary fashion when he made it to the UFC. He was scary. And now that he's not scary anymore, I don't think he's that good.
I totally agree with you. This is, we're not deciphering the code here by picking Ankalaev. I mean, Ankalaev obviously is the A side here. He has 17 fights as a professional. He's got a ton of amateur fights, Russian world championships. He does everything well. I mean, we saw him pick apart, what's his name? No Time or whatever. What is that guy's name?
Ozdemir? Krylov?
Ozdemir. Yeah, we just saw him pick apart Ozdemir. I love his front kicks, right? In the kicking range that Thiago likes to play at now. I love the front kicks of Ankalaev. I love the boxing of Ankalaev. I love the wrestling of Ankalaev. Take it from Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland said that dude is the guy in the gym. I mean, he is the number one guy. He is the Russian destroyer. Clear setup fight. I really, don't overthink this one, guys. There's not a lot to say here. He's the better fighter by a mile. Hopefully he doesn't slip on a banana peel, and I'm a fraud for saying put him in your parlays, but I'll be fraudulent. It's going to make me a lot of money. So Ankalaev, easy one here. Love it.
Yeah, there's not a lot to say here. I think, I mean, we're starting to see a lot of these guys that they're our old darlings. We fell in love with them, and we still remember them nostalgically. The Edson Barbosa,
Tony Ferguson,
Edson Barbosa, Cowboy Cerrone. We've seen him, his fall from grace a little bit, recently, but we still think Edson's the guy that's going to stop the shot and just go out there and wheel kick and go for the kill. Marlon Moraes, the guys on this card, these guys, that we've fell in love with, we've grown up with, we've watched for so long, we've seen him knock out so many people, and we think, oh man, if he just lands that one punch, but they don't have it anymore. It's not there anymore. Only way we're seeing old Thiago Santos again is if he's on TRT. I mean, that's it. You give that guy some shots of testosterone, he might come out there and throw some fireballs. Other than that, I mean, man, Father Time comes collecting, and you just don't have that much fight left in you. I'm 39. Like, I'm tired, you guys. I don't have fight left in me for actual fighting or arguing or bickering. I'm like, man, when I was 22, I would fight and argue over anything, anywhere, anytime, verbally, physically, whatever. I don't care. Let's fight. Let's debate. Let's compete. Let's everything. Now I'm like, I'm good. I'll let it slide. Like, cause who cares? And we've seen that a lot with Thiago Santos, and I think he's like, I'm good. So don't overthink this one, guys. Ankalaev from the rooftops at minus 100, minus 500, minus 1,000. It doesn't matter. This is Umar Nurmagomedov. You know, it was a rich bet at minus 750, but
But it's a
you don't
winning
bet.
bet.
Yeah, but you don't bet on Kelleher for that one. You know, it's Umar Umar Usman, just whatever Nurmagomedov it is these days, or you don't bet. That's this. If it's too rich for your blood on Ankalaev, you just
Sit it
don't bet
out.
it.
Yeah.
But don't freaking put Santos in your parlay. So
All right.
with
I
that
think
is
that
it.
wraps up another one.
That wraps it up. It wraps it up. Check Brandon out on Instagram, Brandon Olivas. I'm Santino DeFranco on Instagram. Check out our Patreon in the show notes. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you to LaCroix. We love you. We love you. We love you. And we will see you guys next time. Check out the Discord and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys. Peace.